Welcome to Just in Time series with Vishwadharma. If anyone asks you what best and worst things we have inherited from our previous generations, what would be your answer? Well, in my view, this is how I think about. First, I talk about the best things, then I talk about the worst things that we have inherited and we must stop. And what are the best things that we have inherited and that we should continue? So, the best things, in my view, is about quality, right? The nature of understanding the importance of quality is the best thing that most of the people are still in, continuing that. They have inherited and they're continuing. So, how do we say that? Well, that's again a, um, it varies from person to person, right? There's no generalized view, of course, but whose views are representation of majority? That's the important thing, right? If my answer is representing majority of the thought process, majority of the people's, thoughts, then I can say that yes, it is something that we can consider as a valid. So, in my view, the time management quality, right? The quality especially is is something that I can think that we have inherited, right? The quality of time that we look for spending with children, the quality of time that we spend in even in prayers, right? Any religion for that matter, and the quality of discussions that we aspire in our day-to-day personal life I am talking about, right? So quality, and even the food that we are consuming, people are really conscious about it. Of course, it's again a, we can attribute that to the pandemic, but I know there are people who who are very conscious about the food quality, right? Especially the concern for their health and the quality of life that they aspire to, the strive for. That's really um, inspiration for many people, right? So the discipline and quality, time management, and these are the things. Now the worst things, right? The worst things, in my view, um, certainly not with respect to the personal life, though. But of course, personal life influence. It does influence professional life, right? it's the same. It's the same human beings, right? And the habits of each individual reflects in their performance also, the professional life, right? Anyway, now what are the worst things that we have inherited? Not from the personal, perspective though, but when it comes to the institutions, the organizations, the worst thing that we have inherited and it's continuing is um, looking at things in a quantitative way, right? The number game, the numbers, running behind numbers, and short term goals, the short term numbers, compromising, right? Because you see, it's a conflicting and contradicting. One side we strive to focus on quality, the other side we strive to focus on quantity. But majority of the people think that what is wrong in this? We should focus on quality and we should focus on quantity. Both has to go hand in hand. But that's absolutely irrational thinking. Some of you may feel surprised. Just think about it. Quality and quantity, these are not independent items. These are dependent items. If you focus on quality, your productivity increases automatically because you are reducing the rework amount of time. You are reducing the effort, be it time, energy, resources, cost, money, whatever it is, right? You are significantly reducing the amount of unnecessary effort on reworks. So thereby, you are able to save a lot of time and you are able to, increase the productivity. So quality is directly proportional to the productivity by reducing defects, right? Now, quantity on the other hand, you need to keep it something minimal, right? The minimum necessary items, right? Minimum viable product, people say that, right? Minimum necessary variables. Because we are living in an, information age, and information is proliferating. It is exploding in terms of various other words also that you can think about it, right? Big data and so on, right? And how much of noise that exists, right? And unfortunate to see that people look for globalization, quantity figures, globalized quantity figures, the numbers in a global dashboard. Well, it's so curious and it's so interesting to see what's happening, across the globe. But, you know, it has significant side effects. Significant. And it's definitely, if I have to explain it, this will become 40 minutes or at least 1 hour podcast, which I don't want to do it. Rather, I want to give you certain references for you to read, right? Read Dr. Deming books. Dr. Deming, Dr. Edwards Deming, right? Books, especially a book called Out of Crisis. You will understand this beautiful concept, right? I don't want to give multiple books and then, again you thinking which one is best and so on, right? So, no options, right? Start reading Out of Crisis book, and it will really make you feel, it will give you a lot of confidence that you can mitigate any risk and that you can come out of any risk or crisis situation. All right. Thank you for listening to this podcast. This is an interesting question, right? You ask this question to your friends, right? Then observe and introspect. Thank you.